Hi guys, let's get more news about Warriors. But first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Warriorstrade are once again at the center of massive controversy. And tonight, the NBA world is buzzing with shock, confusion, and a wave of concern after new reports emerged about the deteriorating relationship between Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors organization. What seemed like a small issue months ago has now grown into a full-blown situation that insiders are calling unhealthy, unsustainable, and deeply concerning for the team's future. Fans are stunned. Analysts are scrambling to understand what went wrong. And the Warriors front office is suddenly facing one of the most sensitive internal conflicts they've dealt with in years. The tension surrounding Kuminga has reached a point where people around the league are openly questioning whether he even fits the Warriors' timeline anymore. And if this once promising partnership is closer to the breaking point than anyone expected. It all began quietly. Little comments here, a few frustrated quotes there, and small body language moments during games that fans noticed but didn't think too much about. But behind the scenes, sources say the friction was real. Kuminga, a rising star with explosive potential, felt he wasn't being valued the way he believed he should be. He wanted a bigger role, more minutes, more responsibility, and more trust. At the same time, the Warriors coaching staff struggled to consistently fit him into their system, especially as the roster changed. Veterans demanded touches, and the team's identity evolved. What started as a simple disagreement over playing time has now evolved into something much bigger and far more personal. Reporters close to the team described the atmosphere as tense, with one source saying that Kuminga has grown increasingly frustrated over what he considers mixed signals from the Warriors organization. He sees himself as a franchise cornerstone, someone who should be treated like the future face of the team. While the Warriors have continued to lean heavily on their championship core of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, there were moments last season when Kuminga looked like the best athlete on the floor, dominating games on both ends, making highlight play after highlight play and showing flashes of being the next superstar forward in the league. But there were also nights where he barely played, nights where he seemed lost in the rotation, and nights where the coaching staff simply didn't trust him to close games. That inconsistency has built up over time, leaving Kuminga frustrated and unsure of his place on this roster. The tension surfaced publicly when Kuminga made comments to local reporters questioning his role and expressing disappointment in how the team was using him. Fans brushed it off initially, thinking it was just the normal competitive emotion young players sometimes show. But insiders say this wasn't a one-time flare-up. This was something that had been simmering for months. The coaching staff tried to reassure him, telling him that his time was coming, that the organization believed in his growth, and that patience was necessary on a veteran-led team. But patience is hard to preach to a young star who believes he's ready now. And with every game where he sat on the bench while others took the spotlight, the frustration continued to stack. People close to Kuminga say he sees the writing on the wall. He knows the Warriors aren't the same team they were years ago. They're trying to compete now while also trying to develop their young players, a balance that is incredibly hard to maintain. But from Kuminga's perspective, the situation has gone from confusing to discouraging. He feels stuck between being a developing talent and being a potential star, yet not fully being allowed to embrace either role. It's that uncertainty combined with a lack of communication and constant changes in his responsibilities that has led many to describe the situation as unhealthy. On the Warriors side, the frustration is also growing. Coaches have complained quietly about Kuminga's inconsistency on defense, his occasional lapses in focus, and moments where he seemed detached from the team system. They know he has incredible talent, maybe the most raw talent on the roster, but they also believe he still needs discipline and structure to fully unlock his potential. That's where the disconnect lies. Kuminga wants freedom and trust. Their Warriors want structure and reliability. And somewhere between those two visions, the relationship has begun to crack. Fans have taken to social media expressing disbelief. Some blame the Warriors for mismanaging yet another young player, especially after watching the team lose Jordan P. and James Wiseman under similar circumstances. Others argue that Kuminga needs to be more patient, more mature, and more willing to accept coaching. But the overwhelming reaction is shock that a player who once looked like the next great Warrior is now at the center of a potentially irreversible rift. The breaking point, according to insiders, came during team meetings earlier this season when Kuminga reportedly voiced his frustration more aggressively than expected. He felt he wasn't being heard. He felt his growth was being stunted. And most concerningly, he felt that staying in Golden State might not be the best move for his long-term career. Those close to the situation say his tone and body language made it clear that this wasn't a temporary issue. This was a deeper emotional disconnect that could lead to a serious decision in the near future. As all of this unfolds, the Warriors front office is now stuck in a difficult position. They know Kuminga is one of their most valuable young assets. They know he has the potential to be an all-star, and they know that trading him would be a massive gamble, one the franchise could regret for years. But at the same time, they understand that a deeply unhappy player can disrupt the locker room, affect team chemistry, and derail the season. This has created a storm of uncertainty around the franchise at a time when the Warriors desperately need stability. Stephen Curry, the face of the franchise, is reportedly trying to keep the team together. He knows how important Kuminga could be for the Warriors' future and how much the team needs young talent to support its aging core. But Curry also knows that the Warriors are built on trust, unity, and selflessness, values that are being tested right now. If the situation isn't addressed soon, their Warriors risk losing not just Kuminga's trust, but also their identity as a cohesive championship-caliber organization. Analysts across the NBA are now openly speculating about what comes next. Some believe the Warriors might consider trading Kuminga before things escalate further. Others think the organization will do everything in its power to repair the relationship, hoping that improved communication and a more defined role could calm the tension. But the truth is, no one really knows how this will end. What we do know is that the situation is serious. The emotions are real, and the Warriors are facing one of the most critical decisions of their modern era. As the story continues to unfold, fans are left stunned, wondering how things reached this point. Jonathan Kuminga was supposed to be the future. He was supposed to be the next pillar of the franchise. But now that future feels uncertain, fragile, and possibly slipping away. Whether this relationship can be fixed or whether the Warriors will be forced to move on is a question that hangs heavily over the team, and the outcome could shape the franchise for years to come.